Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Let's meet our first guest, who swapped the factory floor for the red carpet in Hollywood, and she has worked with A-lister Angelina Jolie in the process. Nora Twomey, the co-founder of the Southeast animation studio Cartoon Saloon, joins us now to tell us about her success in the world of animation. Nora, you've had quite the entrepreneurial journey so far.
Thanks very much, Carl. It's great to join you. That's a pretty big leap, I suppose, but it's over 25 years, really, kind of thing that, we've had our company here at Cartoon Saloon in Kilkenny for about 25 years now. In fact, it's our anniversary year this year. And yeah, it's certainly been a long journey. I left school when I was 15 without any qualifications, so it wasn't really on my radar at all that, I felt that if I could get a foot into the jobs market at all, I would be doing well. Not in mind, I suppose, where I ended up, but I went back into education in my early 20s and kind of found my way through to animation, and I met the people that became my business partners in college. We have a number of successes, but there was also a lot of hard work and a lot of failures and trying things out and trying other things to get to where we are. So yeah, that's been a big journey.
When you co-founded Cartoon Saloon 25 years ago, Ireland was not known for its animations. So what has been the key to the success of the business?
When I graduated, there were a number of smaller companies, and it was the kind of digital explosion, I guess, was happening then. So if we graduated a couple of years earlier, it might have been really, really expensive for us to start our own business. But we managed to, with the help of Young Irish Filmmakers, actually, organisation here in Kilkenny as well, who managed to get us a bit of a grant to set up, and they lent us a room for a couple of years, and so we set up there with our one computer and a phone and a stack of paper, and almost worked like the elves and the shoemaker kind of thing to make a little bit of profit on the next job that we were doing, and in order to kind of fund the next thing. And so we kind of built ourselves up that way. So we didn't have a massive injection of funds or anything like that, but we did have support early on from Screen Ireland, or the Irish Film Board at the time, and a number of organisations like Enterprise Ireland, the IDA, etc., invested in us.
When did the big breakthrough come?
I suppose we got international recognition with our first Oscar nomination with The Secret of Kells. Before that, we had made a number of short films which had gained some international recognition. One of them won an IFTA, an Irish Film and Television Award here, and another one, went to about 70 festivals out around the world. So I suppose we were kind of slowly building up, but I think the big turning point for us came, I suppose, with that first Oscar nomination. And it was a bit of a paradox for us because we had a huge amount of, critical acclaim and focus all of a sudden, but at the same time it was actually a big time of struggle for the company, where we really had to kind of inject every bit of, money that we had back into the company at the time, because we had gone from about 15 people to 75 people, and then we hadn't kind of invested in what we needed to do going forward from that. So it was quite a wobbly time for us, so it took us a while to kind of steady the ship.
And from a skills perspective, are there sufficient animation skill sets in the Irish market right now?
There are some fantastic degree courses around the country now in animation, certainly in Ballyfermot, where I went to college myself, and in Dunleary, and then there are many then around the country as well, just kind of focusing on animation. There are, I suppose, if I had one piece of advice to give any students out there, either looking to get into animation or something related to animation, and then remembering that animation isn't just animators. We also have accountants, we have legal people working with us, we have all of the different disciplines, coordinators, managers, facilities people, all kind of feed into making films and making TV series as we do. But I suppose just to reach out to companies and to try and get yourself some work experience with the companies. There are also great festivals, like there's a festival in Dingle that's happening quite soon for animation, and we have one in Kilkenny as well come September. And so those are great places as well, not to mention the Galway Film Festival and Dublin Film Festival, etc., where you get to meet people in the industry, and that's always really great to just to try and make connections.
Who are Cartoon Saloon's main clients today?
Well, we work with everyone from Apple, Netflix, Disney. We work with all of the kind of major players, but for us, really, we try to focus in on our own intellectual property, so writing films ourselves, producing them with small producers around the world. So we co-produce a lot with companies in France, Luxembourg, Belgium, Canada, and the US. So we try to maintain that kind of a model really for the majority of our work, because we have a more independent voice as storytellers and filmmakers with that model, but also it's a little less volatile, let's say, than the kind of bigger studios, which are oftentimes, at the mercy of their shareholders, etc., and large kind of fluctuations in the market. So we're actually very lucky here in Ireland and in Europe, and again with some of the, like I said, the support that we have from things like Section 481, tax relief as well, where we can, raise a part of our budget, which makes us very attractive on an international level.
And in relation to that owned IP by Cartoon Saloon, how do you gain traction with it?
Well, we have a lot of relationships with distributors around the world, Japan, the US, and so on and so forth here in Europe as well. And so we maintain those relationships. Really, each and every project that we do has its own little business model, and its own finance package that we kind of bring together whatever partners make sense for each of the projects that we set up here or that originate from the company here.
You've worked with Angelina Jolie, and there are not too many Business Matters guests that can claim that fame. What was that experience like?
Yeah, that was really fantastic, actually. And Angelina Jolie came in as executive producer on The Breadwinner, which is a film that I directed about 5 years ago. It came out. And she came on to the project because she had actually opened a school in Afghanistan. The Breadwinner is a film that is based on a novel which was set in Afghanistan. And so Angelina had set up a school there many years ago and continues to kind of support women's rights in Afghanistan, and so she came on to kind of help support the project and to shine a light on it really. And it meant that the film itself then, I suppose, when it came out, had a lot of attention that maybe an independent film wouldn't have otherwise have had, and so it was a really positive effect. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, she's just she's a lovely person, but it's funny when you just, when you get talking to someone, we're all just people at the end of the day, and so it was easy enough to kind of relax into normal kind of working relationships and normal chat with somebody like Angelina Jolie.
As we look to the future, what is on the horizon for Cartoon Saloon?
We're continuing to make films and make series. We released Puff and Rock, which is a preschool show, which is on Netflix at the moment. We have 2 series on Netflix, but we made a feature film for very young audiences for their first cinema experiences, which was just there in the summer of 2023. So now we are moving on to a feature film, which is directed by Louise Bagnall, who was Oscar nominated for her short film Late Afternoon, a beautiful short film that deals with the effects of Alzheimer's. And she has started working on a film called Julian, which is about a really wonderful, creative young boy growing up in New York. He goes to visit his grandmother, and his grandmother gets a little bit more than she bargained for with this young boy, Julian, who's very free-spirited. And so that's a beautiful film that's just going into production at the moment. And then Tom Moore has a new feature film coming out, and we have a number of projects in development, so we're kept busy the whole time.
And of course, yesterday you spoke at Network Ireland's celebration for International Women's Day. But what does this day mean to you?
Yeah, I suppose it's fantastic for events like the Network Ireland event to take place, because you have, that organisation has 17 branches all around the country, so it's amazing seeing women, members and non-members, getting together and just sharing experience and sharing in order to try and kind of strengthen and give women, just a leg up where necessary, kind of into the industry. If you've been, out of the industry for a while or things like that, just to try and, again, level the playing field. I'm mindful myself that, for many years I would often find myself the only woman in a room of men. So it's something I don't take for granted now that things are, certainly in the animation industry, evening up, which is fantastic. But so International Women's Day, I suppose I wish it was every day, or that it didn't have to be a one-day kind of a spotlight, really, because it really does put focus on the inequality, not just for women, but for, minority groups, and that, taking their place in industry.
This year's theme for International Women's Day is Inspire Inclusion. From your perspective, how can inclusion for women be improved?
Well, I suppose here in Cartoon Saloon we've made many efforts, and this is actually not just for women, but for parents and for people who, are looking after older folks in their family, or just anybody who's got anything kind of going on in their lives. We all have at different points in our lives some, different pulls on our time. So we've made a really concerted effort not to lose the skills that people have if they need to take a bit of a career break for a while. So making sure that people are fully supported in that, because you need people in your business who have life experience, as well as just, are just, career, focused really. Those are the kind of people that can solve problems, that can bring teams together, that can communicate between, different departments and all of this, So that's the kind of maturity and wisdom that we're looking for, and you get that by supporting women and, like I said, men as well. If they want to take career breaks, what they're doing in those times are actually going to benefit your company when they come back into it.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Nora Twomey from Cartoon Saloon, and we wish Nora and the team continued success, and hopefully one day they will win that Oscar.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.